I want to play for you a clip of Jon Stewart on The Daily Show mocking Laura Ingraham from Fox News. And then what I want to do is something a little bit special. A while back, I went and reflected on the taking down of Tucker Carlson by Jon Stewart years ago on Crossfire. Now I want to reflect the same thing with Bill O'Reilly, Jon Stewart taking him down, because what he's responding to here that just happened about the Trump conviction and Laura Ingraham's dishonesty, he's doing it in a funny way. It's, when you compare now and then, disturbing how long Jon Stewart and others have been able to identify the game being played by Fox and the horrible structure that they have there. So first, here's this moment from the last edition of The Daily Show. Then we'll look at a flashback.
Political smear job.
I guess we all need, to shop at Banana Republic from now on? Because that's what it feels like. Yeah, a Banana Republic.
Have you subscribed?
I'm trying. For the both of our sakes. Click the subscribe button.
After this trial, we need to shop at Old Navy because our country is a sinking ship. It was a sham, this trial.
So we've heard, I don't know if Ingraham didn't know or if she just did the word association, but we have heard MAGA Republicans in the past think that that term comes from the store Banana Republic. And so an interesting statement for her to make nevertheless. But let's waste no time on that and get into what is iconic. And then hold in your mind everything we talk about. Since I've started doing political commentary, the coverage of Fox News is this crazy dishonesty structured around riling people up, stoking fear about things, tapping into what are real issues, but then blowing them out of proportion or directing them in incorrect ways. Just all this stuff. And Jon Stewart has had a long record of calling out Fox host Tucker Carlson. Then here, Bill O'Reilly. And if you're a real youngster and you don't know who Bill O'Reilly is, he was sort of the Tucker Carlson before Tucker Carlson. And if you're not as old as me, old and wise, okay, then I'll fill you in on it. And it's really fascinating to flash back to this. So this is February 3rd, 2010. Here we go.
News organization, a media arm of a political party, of a political wing, and you've sprinkled it. You've cut it with a little bit of object, a little bit of Chris Wallace asking a tough question. A little bit.
From 9 to 4, when Cavuto comes on,
not even close.
That's 7 hours.
Not even close. Because they're also part of the journey. They're part
of the journey. Who's part of the journey?
The journey begins in the morning. It begins with the
Fox and Friends.
With the wide-eyed innocence of Fox and Friends. Obama has czars. I Googled czar. Did you know that's a Russian word for a Russian leader? Or they'll go through, these children in second grade are singing the praises of Obama. Did you know they sing the praises of their leader in North Korea? And then when the hard news comes on, they go, some people are concerned that they're indoctrinating children.
So you think that the Fox News channel is set up solely to provide aid and comfort to the Republican Party and the conservative movement?
That's right.
Nothing else.
And to make some money.
Then why?
Okay.
Whoa.
All right, so stop that one there, but we have a lot more to look at. It's such an important point because one of the things that Fox News defenders will say is, well, they have a range of ideas, a range of voices, and they have straight news reporting. But they do this deceptive thing where they create narratives in their more opinionated shows that they admit are opinionated. They then report on those narratives in their straight news segments. And all throughout the day, they're constructing a worldview for their viewers that as the day goes on, it gets more and more extreme, but it's all the same general lens to look through at the world. And it's an inaccurate one. It's structured. Its purpose is to evoke fear, rage, emotions, and cause you to just have to keep watching. And that's why not too many people have a story of an uncle who just can't get their eyes off of CNN, or a grandpa who can't. But goodness gracious, we all know someone in our life who never takes their eyes off of Fox News. And it's because they've mastered the poking of those little pressure points in the hearts and minds of viewers. And they have to engage dishonesty to do that day after day after day, because sometimes you don't actually have real narratives that are scary enough to keep someone watching. So you got to create narratives. And that's why, to their credit, a CNN that does less of the Fox News gets trounced by Fox News in the ratings because of that very factor. And I guess CNN should get some credit for not just trying to play the exact same game that Fox News plays. But then they have the plausible deniability of, but we had a Chris Wallace at one point, so.
Here's how I know you are. Because Fox News has done a 180 on so many integral principles of what you would imagine a news organization to be. Fox News used to be all about, you don't criticize a president during wartime. It's unacceptable. It's treasonous. It aid and comfort to the enemy. All of a sudden, for some reason, you can run out there and say Barack Obama is destroying the fabric of this country.
But not in the Afghanistan situation.
They've absolutely said
No,
he
not
doesn't
here.
know what he's doing.
Not here.
When you're talking about-
everybody here has been respectful in that theater and not undermined.
Ridiculous. But before moving on to more, that parallel is stunning. Because we've talked about this before, especially when Josiah joins us on the show. It used to be in times of crisis, because a Republican was in power when this became a huge thing. Republicans would say a way you show your patriotism is being supportive of and not publicly criticizing the president's actions regarding that crisis. And calling them out as being horrible is, as was mentioned there, giving aid and comfort to our enemies. And then all we've seen is, with Biden and his handling of world crises, a complete flip-flop on that. And it's the same. There's not really principles that are being held. It's just nice to say them whenever it works for an argument. Then they'll abandon them, so they were never principles. Here's more.
Perpetual.
We're back to the cyclonic.
Their cyclonic
All right.
perpetual emotion machine. That is a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week. They've taken reasonable concerns about this president and this economy and turned it into a full-fledged panic attack about the next coming of Chairman Mao.
See, some people do that, but most people don't. Brett Baer's got a panel. Brett Baer, is he another closet fascist? Brett Baer?
What
Poor
is
Brett?
sticking? What is sticking? What is the overall narrative? You're missing the forest for the trees by trying to cherry pick individuals with some semblance of integrity.
If you look at the polls, Obama's personal popularity is still in the high 50s.
Explain
job
to me,
performance is slipping. And the job performance is
explain
slipping
to
because
me
what you said.
how Barack Obama is destroying the fabric of America.
I don't believe he
and
is.
tyranny. Then explain to me why that is the narrative of your network.
It's the narrative of a couple of guys, a Republican, Sean Hannity, and a guy, Glenn Beck, who's basically everyman.
And
He's
Fox
basically.
and Friends. What do you mean he's
Fox
everyman?
and
What do you
Friends.
mean he's...
Okay, I'll stop it there, but it was a perfect quote there. Essentially, Fox News is able to take real economic concerns, real concerns about crime, real concerns about any number of real issues, but then exacerbate the fear about those beyond justification in the interest of directing that fear and hatred at Democrats. And now at rhinos, people who aren't MAGA enough. And it actually prevents meaningful conversations about those very subjects, which proves that it's not actually in the interest of addressing those subjects. The perfect example, as we've talked about before, is crime. We could do this with the crime issue or economic issues, but let's go through crime again. Right now, crime is plummeting. But on Fox News, they speak constantly, even in the straight news hours. Never mind. I was going to make a straight news joke. No, okay? This is a professional program. None of that. Even on the straight news hours, before things get a little fruity, they speak as if the reality in this country is that crime is surging when it's plummeting. And that is in service of convincing people that they're way more unsafe than they are. And so what happens is people have real concerns almost all the time about crime, because crime is always a thing. And even when it's at lower rates historically, it still is something people are concerned with. And if you had a personal experience with it, or you heard about one, or you watched nonstop as they showed you videos on Fox News of the crimes that are happening, it is something people feel viscerally fear about. So then you can take that and, like I said, play nonstop videos of the crimes that are happening, which you can always find footage of that. Just like how you can always find footage of migrants at the southern border, but then you play it nonstop and you rev people up into believing there's a crisis. And so a bunch of America believes that crime is surging when it's not, which only serves to do two major things. First is make people feel less safe than they statistically actually are, which is hurting their quality of life. But most importantly, as I've said before, if we, of course, need to understand negative trends so we can reverse them, then we also need to understand positive, good trends so that we can further them, right? If there are certain variables that are currently in play that are causing crime to go down, we want to figure out exactly what those are and maximize for them. Do that more. And some of that might be keeping the current president in power because he's been overseeing this. Some of that may be doing more of these democratic policies, huge investments in public safety, etc. But we, of course, want to keep that trend going, keep crime going down. But if you deny that the good trend's happening, how can you learn from it? How can you make crime go down further by learning from the fact that it currently is going down? And so that means that the Fox News hosts are actually working in the interest of not making crime rates go down further. And that's bad. And they should be condemned for that. Very interesting stuff there from Jon Stewart. Let me know what you thought of that little flashback and of the initial joke at the beginning in the comments. And if you want to get more of this, an episode every day of the show that is more for only members, then you can get that by clicking the join button below.